Fifth graders, today is Monday, October 28th, and we are continuing along with Module 2, Lesson 14, okay? This is a continuation of what we learned last Thursday, Lesson 13, with unit conversions. Today kind of wraps up the first part of Module 2. Tomorrow we're going to do some word problems to review everything we've learned, and then on Thursday you're going to have your mid-Module 2 test. Okay, but as you can see, today's learning goal is very similar to what you had last Thursday when you had the sub. We're going to use what we know about multiplying decimals and fractions to convert units of measurement. Remember, when you convert something, it means you're changing something. So you're changing your amount from one measurement to another measurement. Okay, are you changing the actual amount of measurement that you have? No, you're just changing the units. You're converting the units. For example, what that means is I could say I am 5 feet tall. But I could also say I'm 60 inches tall because 5 feet is the same as 6 inches, 60 inches. Because 1 foot is the same as 12 inches. And so 12 times 5 is 60. Did I change how tall I actually am?
No.
I'm just converting or changing the units that I'm using to describe my height. Make sense? Okay. So today your problem of the day is a little bit different. It tells you instead of solving a word problem, it tells you to draw a tape diagram to represent one day as a fraction of 1 week. So what that means is your whole tape diagram is 1 week. If your whole tape diagram is 1 week, how many little pieces do you have to split it up into to show one day? 7. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I can show that this is 1 day, right? Yeah. So using a fraction then, that's 1 out of how many total parts? 7 parts. Good. Good. So 1 day is 1/7 of a week. Make sense? Let's try the second one. 1 foot, if my whole thing is 1 yard, my whole piece of tape is 1 yard, how many pieces do I have to split it up into to show 1 foot? 3. This is 1 foot. So 1 foot is what fraction of a yard? 1/3. Good. Okay. My last one, I want to do 1 quart as a fraction of a gallon. Here, back to that gallon again, right? We need to know about this. So if this whole thing is 1 gallon, how many parts do I have to split it up into to show 1 quart? Good. So this is 1 gallon. If I split it up into 4, this is 1 quart. So 1 quart is what fraction of a gallon? 1/4. Okay, this is going to be very important to you as we move forward. This is a good time to remind you. You need to know about this guy. Okay, Addison told us that last year her teacher said she could make a story, or 2 years ago, or whoever. Okay, your teachers were very smart. You see that there's 1 big gallon. Inside that gallon there are 4 quarts. How many? 4 queens. How many prince or princesses are there? 2 per queen. How many per gallon? 8. And then each prince or princess has 2 cats. So how many cats is that all together? 16. How many is it per queen? 4 cups or cats per queen. How many princes or princes per queen? 2. Okay. So a good idea would be to draw this in your notebook. Maybe in the back of your notebook, you might want to think of it as the galaxy, right? And inside the galaxy, there is 4 queens. Each queen has 2 princes or princesses, and each one of those has 2 cats. Okay, make sense? This is going to help you a lot as we move forward with our unit conversions. As a quick review, last week we learned the method that you all need to follow. It's not often that I tell you have to copy something exactly the way I do it. Unit conversions is one of the only things I'm very strict about, that you have to follow my method. Okay, and there's a reason for that. So you can see that we are converting from gallons to what's our new unit? Pints. Are we changing the amount of soda or liquid or whatever we're measuring? Are we changing the amount? No. We just want to change the way we're describing the units. We used to describe it in gallons, and now we're going to change it into pints. So we know that we write it as an equal sign, and we know that this is 2, here's that number 2, right? 2 copies of 1 gallon. Do you guys agree?
Yes.
Okay, 2 gallons is the same as 2 copies of 1 gallon. We always start off using our old units first. Okay, we always write the number there. Okay, we're going to write it as equal to. We still have the same number, 2 copies. But now we want to change it to the new units. What's my new units?
Pints.
Pints. And I always use parentheses because whatever is in my parentheses needs to be equal. 1 gallon is equal to how many pints?
8.
8. Good. Okay. So now that we're in our new units, we are ready to multiply. 2 times 8 is 16. And so now we know that 2 gallons is equal to 16 pints. This is a review from last week. What's bigger, 1 gallon or 1 pint?
1 gallon.
Right? So does it make sense that 2 gallons would be more than 2 pints?
Yes.
Right? But what if I switched it? What if it was 2 pints? Would it be equal to 16 gallons?
No.
No, because 2 pints isn't even 1 gallon. It's a fraction of a gallon. Okay, and today we're going to work with fractions. Okay, so for example, I've started this problem for you. We have 14 days, and we want to find out how many weeks are in 14 days. Now, let me ask you a question. If I have 14 days, do I also have 14 weeks?
No.
Am I going to have more or less than 14 weeks? Less, right? Because 14 days is only, you guys know, how many weeks? 2. And here's how we do it using math. We do the same thing. We know we start with 14. That's our number. We know that 14 days is 14 copies of 1 day. That's our old unit. Yeah? We want to change it now. We still have 14 copies, but we want to change it to our new units, which is weeks. Think back to that tape diagram. You knew that if you had 1 week, we had to split it into 7 pieces, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that this one section is 1 day, right? So 1 day is equal to how much of a week?
1/7.
Oh, 1/7 of a week. Now we're in our new units, so we're ready to multiply. Can we do 14 times 1/7? Yeah, we can. We learned from last year that's the same thing as 14 times 1 over 1 times 7, which is 14 over 7, which is?
2.
So 14 days is equal to 2 weeks. So you can see that this is the same as what we learned last week in terms of the format. We're still converting units. The difference is this time your conversion right here is going to be a fraction. Good thing we learned how to multiply fractions and whole numbers last year. Yes?